For today's reading tour, we are going to look at an article titled Why Spelling Matters. In this article, we receive information regarding the importance of spelling instruction, how to evaluate spelling programs, and how we can link our instruction to the Common Core state standards. There are even more components and considerations to spelling instruction than I had ever imagined. Because of this, I believe that all educators and future educators should read and reflect upon this article. We all know that spelling is an important part of life. The author of this article believes that spelling is actually the very foundation of becoming a strong reader and writer. However, spelling hasn't always been at the forefront of our education system. Teachers have so much material to cover that many find themselves unable to devote the time to spelling instruction and best practices. The author outlines multiple reasons why we should think long and hard about spelling instruction. First, it reflects a more advanced linguistic knowledge. Our college and career-bound students need to exemplify this type of knowledge. Secondly, proficiency in spelling opens the door to proficiency in reading, which is ultimately the goal of elementary school instruction. Thirdly, spelling instruction fosters an eye for detail when it comes to the orthographic representation of words. Direct and explicit spelling instruction, coupled with reading instruction, provides a comprehensive approach and an opportunity for students to actually practice applying these rules and patterns. This means that students will be able to apply these rules and patterns to more complex pieces of literature throughout their lifetime. It would make sense that this authentic teaching and practicing cycle would lead to an increased automaticity and fluency. The author goes into detail regarding types of spelling instruction that exist. The first type of instruction she briefs us on is whole word spelling instruction. This is more than likely the type of spelling instruction that you received in grade school. Whole word spelling involves the rote memorization of words that are on lists. Teachers may develop thematic lists based on classroom texts or basal series, or they may use leveled or ability-based lists. After the list is developed, students engage in the study, copy, cover, and compare strategy to hopefully commit the spellings to their memory banks. The next approach is phonemic spelling instruction. Rather than memorizing each word, students are digging a little bit deeper and now looking at sound-symbol correspondence. Alphabetic spelling is one type of phonemic spelling, where students learn to match individual letters to sound, reading in a typical left-to-right fashion. After mastering this, students can engage in phonemic and syllable patterns, where they look at these types of rules and apply them to different words. Next, we talk about morphemic spelling instruction. Again, morphemic spelling instruction goes even deeper than phonemic spelling instruction. This form of instruction deals with meaningful units of language, such as prefixes, roots, and suffixes. The author highlights research that shows us that a solid knowledge of morphology through direct and explicit instruction leads to improved spelling. This type of instruction benefits our ELL students, as they can look at similar patterns between their native language and English. One facet of morphemic spelling instruction is rule-based spelling. With this, students learn and practice morphemic spelling rules that deal with plural words and combining syllables. After sharing with us these three approaches, it's natural to be left with questions. What do we, as teachers, implement in order to efficiently instruct all of our learners in spelling? The author believes that there is no single approach to spelling instruction. In order to meet the needs of our learners with and without special needs, we need to integrate all three approaches. One way we can do this is by building spelling lists with words that exemplify those targeted spelling rules or patterns that our students are learning in class. This enables students to get that hands-on practice with all of those rules and patterns that we are explicitly teaching in the classroom. When we grade student work, we should immediately correct misspellings. And finally, we need to be cumulative when planning our spelling units. It's not enough to cover certain words in one unit and leave them behind. Words from each unit need to be revisited again and again throughout the year in order to solidify that learning. The author introduces the concept of stage theory. and a great visual is provided in the article. I recommend that you go ahead, read the article, and make sure to pay special attention to that little chart in there. Sage theory gives us approximations of student spelling ability according to age and grade level. However, we must keep in mind that some students may not be at the stage that corresponds with their grade level. If we are teaching in an inclusive classroom, we are more likely going to run into this scenario. We need to meet our students where they are and tailor our instruction to meet them. The author reaches the final conclusion that spelling instruction is absolutely 100% necessary to prepare strong and them and make them consistent. The author provides us with 3 keys for spelling success. Well, I recommend that it be the 3 keys. The first key to spelling success is to be explicit and direct in spelling instruction. There's no way around it. This means that teachers must devote classroom time to spelling instruction. All 3 of those methods need to get time in the classroom. The second key for spelling success is to carefully select spelling words that align to the rules you are teaching. If you put words on your list that don't relate back to those rules and patterns that you're explicitly teaching, students aren't going to be able to make the connection. They're not going to be able to apply those rules if it's not there in the list for them with those words. The third key for spelling success is to be repetitive and cumulative in your spelling practice. Each list needs to be revisited over and over again so that it is truly ingrained in the students and not just simply memorized for the time being to pass the test. The final segment of the article outlines the Common Core connections to spelling instruction. As we plan our lessons, this helps us rationalize our decision to devote time to explicit spelling instruction. This means that if an administrator were to walk into your room, you can tell them what you're doing and you can give them justification for why you are devoting that time to spelling. There is also a checklist provided where you can self-assess your school's spelling program or your own classroom spelling program. From there, you can make adjustments to your instructional style so that you can make sure you're meeting the needs of learners with and without special needs in your room. I will leave you with a compelling quote from the article. A skilled speller is a stronger reader and writer. We should consider this heavily when determining how we will instruct spelling in our classrooms. As a future or new teacher, this may seem like a lot to think about, but I can guarantee that your time and efforts will be rewarded. The author of this article has no shortage of research-based studies that support her claims regarding spelling instruction. I urge you to visit the references section of the article provided in the table of contents and check out those research studies if you want to know anything else. The article is written by a woman named Deborah K. Reed, who is from the University of Texas at El Paso. The article is written in conjunction with the Center for Research coming out of Florida. I hope you enjoyed this reading tour and that it was informative. Thank you very much.